Every morning you wake up is one less morning you'll ever have. Time isn't waiting. It's slipping quietly without permission, and one day it runs out. You already know that. But have you truly felt it? This isn't about fear. It's about focus, about finally realizing that you hold the power to make today count. Not next week, not next year. Now. If you've ever caught yourself drifting through the morning, checking your phone, reacting instead of leading, this is your call back to control, to stillness, to clarify, to a mindset built not on noise but on reason, discipline, and self-respect. The great Stoics didn't chase applause or comfort. They lived by intention, and you can too. When you remember that your days are numbered, you stop wasting them. You stop giving energy to things that drain you. You start investing in what builds your character, because that's what lives on long after your job title fades. Today, we go deeper. Not into theory, but into action. How to wake up with purpose, protect your morning from chaos, and train your mindset like your life depends on it, because it does. If this message speaks to you, don't just watch, own it. Hit that subscribe button, like the video if it fuels your focus. And please, share this with a man who's forgotten what he's capable of. You might just be the reason he wakes up ready. 1. Wake up to mortality. You don't need another motivational quote hanging on your wall. What you need, what most men ignore, is the unshakable truth that you're running out of time. Not in a distant, abstract sense, in a tangible, measurable, quietly ticking sense. The clock isn't symbolic, it's literal. And no one escapes it. You will die. Maybe not today, maybe not next year, but it's coming. And every sunrise you meet is a reminder that one fewer remains. Some call this harsh. Stoics call it focus. Because when you carry the awareness of death in your mind, something shifts. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop getting pulled into petty arguments, chasing status, and numbing your boredom with distractions. You stop thinking you have time to start next week. You start now. The world will sell you the illusion of endless chances. It tells you that there's always tomorrow to fix your health, repair the broken relationship, start the business, say the hard truth. But the Stoics would call that a dangerous lie. Seneca wrote, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." That's not poetry, it's a warning. Picture this. You're standing in a room with no windows, just a single hourglass in the center. The sand's been falling for years. You can't flip it, you can't slow it, and no one tells you how much sand is left. Would you still scroll through meaningless posts? Would you still hit snooze? Or would you start to live on purpose? Most men don't wake up, they drift. They enter each day like passengers, not pilots. They forget that every morning isn't just another reset, it's a reckoning. And that's where mortality awareness becomes a weapon. It cuts through indecision, it silences self-pity. When you remember you're dying, you remember to live. So tomorrow, before your feet hit the floor, don't ask what the world owes you. Ask what this limited day demands from you. Take 30 seconds. Sit in stillness, not to panic, but to prepare. Breathe in the truth. This could be the last day you're given. Now what are you going to do with it? This is not about fear, it's about clarity. Death, to the Stoic, is not a thief, but a teacher. It strips life down to what matters. Honor, effort, courage, legacy. When you're aware that each decision could be your last, you start making better ones. You speak with more weight. You listen with more care. You love with more depth. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to wake up differently. Not with dread, but with direction. You are not promised another morning. So make this one count. And if you ever forget, look to the mirror and ask one simple question. If this were my last sunrise, would I be proud of how I greet it? 2. Don't waste the sunrise. The way you begin your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. It isn't just about coffee or alarms or checking the weather. It's about declaring, without saying a word, what kind of man you're choosing to be. Every sunrise offers a quiet challenge. Will you lead your day, or will you follow it? Some people treat mornings like a burden. They drag themselves out of bed, let their phone dictate their mindset, scroll through noise, and react to whatever the world throws their way. They start with chaos, and then they wonder why the rest of their day feels scattered. But a Stoic sees the morning differently. It's not the beginning of the day. It's the beginning of a lifetime, because no man is promised more than this single stretch of hours. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. You don't need more hours. You need more ownership. That starts the moment you wake, because how you greet the morning reflects how you value your time, and more deeply, how you value yourself. Imagine the start of your day as a battlefield. You arrive half asleep, weaponless, distracted. What chance do you have? But if you arrive ready, alert, and composed, the battle shifts. The world doesn't get to push you around anymore. You walk in with clarity. That's what Stoicism trains in you. Not just calm, but command. The average man lets the morning lead him. A Stoic leads the morning, and that leadership begins in silence, not in noise. In reflection, not reaction. You don't scroll, you sit, you don't rush, you breathe. And in those first quiet moments, you sharpen your mind before the world dulls it. This isn't about routines for the sake of productivity, it's about sovereignty. Waking early isn't a flex, it's a form of freedom. You give yourself space before the noise begins. Space to align your actions with your values. Space to remind yourself of what you're building. Not for applause, not for money, but for character. The common mistake? Letting the world rush in too fast. Notifications, emails, headlines, they all come for your attention the moment you open your eyes. But attention is power. And the man who gives it away freely loses himself before the day even starts. The Stoic man protects that power. He directs it with discipline. So here's something simple but radical. Wake up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow. Don't touch your phone. Don't reach for distractions. Instead, sit with your thoughts. Write one sentence about who you want to be today. Not someday, today. Then act like you mean it. Your morning is the doorway to everything that matters. Don't stumble through it. Step through it like a man who knows this sunrise may be his last and wants to make it count. 3. Choose what truly matters. You are not immortal. Today could be your last shot at shaping the man you claim you want to be. So ask yourself, what deserves your limited hours? Most men confuse movement with progress. They jam calendars, chase notifications, juggle endless tasks, and call it productivity. Yet every night they fall asleep restless because nothing they did actually mattered. A Stoic sees that frenzy for what it is: escapism dressed as ambition. True time management. Stoic philosophy begins by cutting what does not serve virtue, not by cramming more into the day. Seneca warned that life feels short only to those who waste it, while Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that fame, comfort, and applause fade like breath on glass. If the greatest minds in history dismissed shallow pursuits, why cling to them now? Picture your life as a crowded harbor at dawn. Ships buzz in every direction. Emails, errands, opinions, headlines. Each vessel shouts for your attention, but only a few carry treasure. A wise captain studies the map, chooses one worthy destination, and lets the noise sail past. You must do the same. Strip your agenda to essentials that build character: courage, justice, temperance, wisdom. Everything else is ballast. Drop it or sink. Here's the common mistake. Men chase goals set by other people. They grind for a title, a number on a screen, a nod from strangers. Meanwhile, the things that would carve a real legacy, integrity, discipline, presence, starve. The Stoic flips that script. He asks, if I died tonight, which efforts would still echo? That single question slices through vanity more cleanly than any productivity app. It spotlights tasks that strengthen the soul and exposes diversions that drain it. So pivot. Before your next meeting, scroll or purchase. Pause, breathe, whisper. Is this essential? If the answer hesitates, it's a no. Redirect that energy to something worthy. Write a note to your son. Lift iron with intent. Read a page of meditations. Practice daily Stoic reflection. Sharpen a skill that serves others. Each choice, tiny yet deliberate, compounds into a life lived intentionally rather than accidentally. Imagine the contrast. A man ruled by impulse reaches 45 and wonders where the decades went. A man ruled by purpose hits the same age with fewer checkmarks on paper, but miles more depth in spirit. He carries peace, not regret, because every hour answered a higher mission. That peace is the quiet superpower modern noise can't buy. Make it practical. Tonight, list your top 3 values, no more. Tomorrow morning, align the first 2 hours solely with them. Guard that time like a lion at the gate. Over days, this habit matures into a Stoic mindset training protocol. Clear target, ruthless focus, daily execution. The benefits of Stoicism emerge: clarity, resilience, self-respect, and you feel lighter because pointless weight is gone. Remember, your calendar is a moral document. It proves what you worship. Fill it with actions that outlast you. Everything else, let the tide carry it away. 4. Time is slipping. Use it or lose it. You're not running out of motivation. You're running out of time. That ticking you feel in your gut each time you postpone, each time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," that's your instinct warning you that the clock isn't on your side. Time isn't a storage unit you can fill later. It's a leaking faucet, one drop at a time. And you don't know how many drops you've got left. People like to say life is short, but that's not exactly true. Life feels short when you waste it. That's what Seneca saw clearly. He wrote that we're not given too little time, we just squander most of it. And no one squanders time more subtly than the modern man. He confuses distraction with rest, reaction with responsibility, and delay with planning. But time doesn't bend to good intentions. Time doesn't care if you're overwhelmed, unsure, or scrolling. It moves forward, quietly, brutally, always. Think of time like oxygen. You never notice how much you're using until the air runs out. Then suddenly, everything becomes sharp. Every second matters. Every breath becomes a battle. That's how you should live now, not waiting for a crisis, but acting like every hour counts. Because it does. The problem is that most men live like time is on pause. They assume there will always be another Monday to start over, another January to reset. But what if there isn't? What if today is the last full page in your story? Would you still spend the first half of it procrastinating and the second half regretting? A Stoic doesn't live in fear of death. He lives in awareness of time. Marcus Aurelius asked himself daily, "Am I afraid of death because I won't be able to do this anymore?" If the answer was yes, he changed how he was spending his hours. It wasn't about bucket lists or big plans. It was about alignment, doing what mattered now, not later. So let's make it practical. Track your time for 3 days. Not just the meetings and tasks, but the scrolling, the gossip, the waiting, the mental drifting. Write it down. When you see it, you'll understand something most never dare to admit. Your time isn't stolen, it's surrendered. And when you realize that, you can take it back. You can say no to the non-essential. You can stop chasing what looks urgent and start building what's truly important. Whether that's being present with your family, improving your mind, getting stronger, or simply finishing what you said you would. That's Stoic time management. Not optimization, but meaning. Use your time like a man who doesn't know how much he has left. Because you don't. Work while you can. Love while you can. Lead while you can. And when the clock finally hits 0, let it find you not scrolling, not waiting, but fully engaged in what matters most. 5. Die before you die. You've been taught to fear death. But the Stoics flipped that idea on its head. They saw death not as a monster lurking in the shadows, but as a mirror, a brutal and honest one. When you look into it every day, you don't shrink, you sharpen. You strip away the ego, the excuses, the false urgency. You stop asking, "How can I live longer?" and start asking, "How can I live better right now?" That's what it means to die before you die. Most men drift through life clinging to titles, reputation, and control, as if these things will anchor them in the storm. But they don't. They weigh you down. They slow you. The Stoic knows that detachment is not weakness, it's power. Epictetus said it clearly. Keep death and exile before your eyes daily, and you'll never be desperate again. Because the man who's made peace with the worst that could happen walks into any room fearless. Picture this. A soldier before the battle, writing a final letter. Not because he wants to die, but because he's ready if he must. There's strength in that clarity, that stillness, that posture of zero entitlement. What if you wrote your final letter today? Not out of drama, but out of discipline? Would you live differently by noon? You see, most people don't prepare to die. They avoid it. They pad their lives with distractions, status symbols, and dopamine hits. They tell themselves they have time to deal with what matters. But those are the very things that steal time. That wastes life. A man who hasn't learned how to die will always be chasing something. Approval, comfort, recognition, thinking it will buy him more time or more worth. The Stoic man? He cuts those cords and walks free. Detaching doesn't mean walking away from the world. It means walking through it with clarity. It means owning what's yours to control. Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, and letting go of the rest. When you no longer obsess over being liked, winning every argument, or achieving something flashy, you finally start building what matters. A life ruled by principle, not panic. Start with one thing today. Let go of the title you cling to, the need to win every conversation, the fear of looking small. Burn the mental resume you used to prove you're enough. Just show up with integrity. Do what's right, even if no one claps. Speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. That's what it means to practice ego death. That's what sets you free. And when the end comes, whether that's 10 years or 10 minutes from now, you won't flinch. You'll nod. You'll breathe steadily, because you already practiced dying, and in doing so, you finally lived. That's the paradox Stoicism reveals. When you stop trying to survive at all costs, you start living on your own terms, fully, boldly, unapologetically. 6. Carry no bitterness. You can't build peace with a heart full of poison. And bitterness, whether you admit it or not, is poison. It clouds your judgment, infects your relationships, and steals your time without making a sound. The Stoics knew that anger, resentment, and emotional debts were chains disguised as armor. They weigh a man down just enough to keep him from moving forward. And if you carry them long enough, you forget what freedom felt like in the first place. People believe that holding on to the pain somehow keeps them strong, like it protects them from being hurt again. But that belief is a trap. Pain held too long becomes identity. You start mistaking your wounds for your story, and every morning you wake up, dragging yesterday's weight into today's fight. But today demands everything you've got, and bitterness makes sure you show up half empty. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." That wasn't passive advice, it was active power. When you let go of resentment, you're not being weak. You're reclaiming control. You're telling your past it no longer has the right to dictate your future. Epictetus went deeper. He said it's not events that hurt us, but our judgments about them. If you shift the judgment, the pain loses its grip. Imagine walking through a battlefield carrying a backpack full of bricks. Every brick is an old insult, a betrayal, a disappointment. Maybe someone lied, maybe they left, maybe they failed to say thank you. So you pick up the brick, you say nothing, but you carry it. Every day, year after year, eventually it becomes part of your shape. But the Stoic man stops, he unpacks. He doesn't just forgive, he releases. Not because the person deserved it, but because he does. The modern world encourages outrage, it rewards grievance. But grievance eats time, and time is something you can't earn back. Every second you spend angry is a second you're not building, not loving, not improving. And when your days are numbered, as they always are, that cost becomes unbearable. So what do? You don't have to forget. You don't have to excuse. You just choose to stop dragging it. When the bitterness creeps in, ask yourself, is this helping me lead the life I claim to want? If the answer is no, drop the weight, even for just a day. Breathe lighter, stand taller. Watch how much farther you move when you're not anchored to yesterday. Forgiveness in the Stoic world is not about others, it's about precision, focus, efficiency. It's about clearing the emotional clutter so you can act with full force and clean purpose. So stop feeding the fire that keeps you stuck. Let silence be your reply. Let clarity be your defense. Let purpose be your answer. And keep walking, free, light, and unshaken. 7. Act as if you'll be judged by yourself. You spend so much time trying to prove something to the world, yet the only judgment that follows you to the end is the one in your own mirror. That voice you carry quietly, the one that speaks when the noise dies down, when the spotlight fades, when it's just you and silence. That's the only critic that matters. And too many men forget that. They build lives that look powerful on the outside but feel hollow on the inside. They chase status, validation, the next level, while their core rusts beneath the surface. But a Stoic man knows that real strength isn't projected, it's possessed. Not shouted, but carried. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." That power begins when you stop living for the crowd and start living for the code. Not someone else's code, not society's expectations, but the one you write by hand, virtue by virtue, moment by moment. Marcus Aurelius warned against living someone else's life. He reminded himself daily that the opinions of others are irrelevant if his own soul is misaligned. That's not arrogance, that's responsibility. Imagine this, you're on trial, but the courtroom is empty. No jury, no crowd, just one chair. And in it sits the version of you that knows better. The one who watched every choice you made behind closed doors. You're not judged on what others saw. You're judged on what you knew and whether you did it anyway. Most men aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of knowing they chose less than their best. The trap is comparison. You look sideways, you scroll, you watch highlight reels and measure your life by someone else's edit. But character isn't built sideways, it's built inward. The Stoic trains himself to stop chasing what looks impressive and start pursuing what feels aligned. That's where the real freedom lives, when you can end the day knowing you didn't fake it, didn't flinch, didn't fold. So how do you live like that? Start with a simple practice. Each night before sleep, ask yourself, not what went wrong, not what others did. Ask if you lived today in line with your values. Did you act with courage, with discipline, with honesty? Not perfectly, just truly. Then listen, not to your ego, no excuses, but to that inner voice that can't be fooled. If it nods, rest. If it's silent, adjust. This is where journaling becomes more than ink. It becomes your internal compass. Write not to perform, but to confront. No filters, just the truth. The more you do it, the clearer it gets. And soon you won't need applause, you won't need permission. You'll start each day with direction and end each one with peace. Because you'll know the only person you need to impress already saw everything. And you lived in a way that earned his respect. 8. Exit ready. Most men fear the end because they have never truly prepared to live. They live as if the credits won't roll. They act as if there will always be more time, another conversation, another chance to say what matters, another opportunity to do what they keep postponing. But the Stoic doesn't flinch at the thought of death. He meets it eye to eye, because for him, every day is shaped like a final chapter, written not with panic, but with precision. To exit ready means to live so clearly that you don't have to scramble when the curtain starts to fall. It means building a life that speaks for itself, even in silence. It's not about drama, last words, or a legacy carved into marble. It's about the calm assurance that if today were your last, you showed up with honor. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet interference, ingratitude, selfishness. But he also reminded himself that none of it should shake his character. That daily preparation wasn't about pessimism, it was about power. Most people avoid thinking about the end. They tell themselves they're too busy for that kind of reflection. But that's the point. They're busy with everything except what matters. They leave their principles untested, their values unspoken, their best work undone. They hope for time to fix it later. The Stoic flips that idea. He prepares before the storm. He lives so that even if the end comes at dusk, there's nothing to clean up. Imagine walking through a museum where every item on the wall is a decision you made today. Some are hung with pride, kindness shown, courage kept, discipline practiced. Others sit in the shadows, moments wasted, truth withheld, bitterness fed. Now imagine that the museum becomes permanent at midnight. Would you be proud to invite someone in? That's the practice of the Stoic, to curate each day like it will be judged forever. So what does this look like in real time? It means living with intent when it's tempting to coast. It means speaking truthfully when silence would be safer. It means doing the hard task now instead of burying it under excuses. It means making peace instead of waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment doesn't come. What you have is now, and now is enough. At night, don't just review your tasks. Review your character. Did you act with integrity when no one was watching? Did you waste minutes that could have held meaning? Did you offer the love, the discipline, the presence you expect from others? If not, correct it. Not tomorrow, but today. That's how you build a life that's not just busy, but worthy. To exit ready is to leave nothing important unsaid, no purpose unexplored, no virtue ignored. It's to stand at the edge with your soul calm, not because you had more time than others, but because you used what you had, like a man who understood it was finite. That's Stoic clarity. That's the last breath earned. You don't need more time. You need more presence. Each sunrise is not a reset. It's a reminder that your life is not limitless, that your breath is numbered, and that today is not a rehearsal. We've walked through what it means to wake up to mortality, to protect your mornings, to choose what matters, and to guard your time like your most valuable asset. You've seen how the Stoics treated death not as a shadow to fear, but as a compass to live by. They didn't chase approval. They practiced virtue. They didn't wait for perfect timing. They acted with purpose. From the first moment of your day to the final minute before rest, your actions build your character. You train your Stoic mindset not by reading theory, but by choosing discipline over ease, clarity over distraction, and purpose over noise. When you stop reacting and start reflecting, you reclaim something most men have lost: direction. So how do you begin? You start small. You wake with intention. You spend your first moments in silence. You journal. You ask yourself not what you want, but who you want to be. And every evening, you close the day by asking, did I move with courage? Did I waste what cannot be replaced? This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming present. It's about remembering memento mori and letting that truth fuel your wisdom, your focus, your daily routine. Make this a practice. Not once, but every day. Watch how your life transforms, not by accident, but by design. And if this message has moved something in you, share your story in the comments. Tell us how you're reclaiming your time, your attention, your life. Your words may help another man remember. The clock is ticking, but the choice is still yours.